It's currently March 27th. About 5 days ago, went through this entire apiary and took all of the hives back down to 5 frames of brood in anticipation of them peaking out too soon and having a tendency to swarm. So everything that was taken off was utilized to create a good number of nukes right over here. I don't know if you can see those, but there's, when we left each of these hives, each of them had a feeder in them with 1.25 to 1 sugar water. That is 1.25 water to sugar, I should say. And everybody got a little bit of pollen just to be on the safe side. I anticipate we'll have one more good snap because East Tennessee is good for that. Right in the beginning of April, there's typically a good little cold snap, and then we get actually serious about moving on into spring. So today's exercise is going to be to go through each one of these hives. We want to make sure that during that process of making splits and knocking everybody back down, we didn't accidentally take a queen or something happened to her that's tragic. Check for some swarm cells or emergency cells. Make sure that we haven't got anything like that going on. And then I want to actually check on the pollen sub and make sure that they have plenty of it. And I also want to feed everybody and make sure that they're drawing the new foundation that we put into the hives. This is a good time. We've got a lot of younger bees that they're not raising a lot of brood because we knocked them down. So we'll give them something to do, and then it's to draw foundation. So with that, we'll get started. I use a mixture of pine straw to start, of fire in the smoker, and then follow it up with smoker pellets. This is a little bit more difficult than using straight pine straw or pine straw and pine shavings. But if you can get this going, if you can figure out how to get this going, this will last all day. You don't have to fool around with it. We've got a double deep hive, and then we've got a double screen board with the entrance facing the rear of this original, and we've got a split that we made probably roughly 3 weeks or so ago. The intention was to keep this down to 5 frames, keep them prevent them from swarming, give them a little space above, and then be able to keep them warm on top of this main colony for this 2-frame split that we performed here. So we want to go into the bottom colony. We want to ensure that since this time, we've also done another split out of this and reduced them to 5 frames again, roughly about 5 days ago. Now we want to go back in here and make sure that nothing has happened to the original queen. When we did these splits, anything can happen. We want to make sure that nothing as bad has happened to the original queen. We want to feed, and we want to give some pollen sub to promote growth, because we also took and added a number of blank frames here for them to draw out. Give them something to do to occupy them, if you will, spread them out as far as resources. Get some drawn comb out of this situation, and then I want to check this and see if we have a queen that has emerged, and if she is, it's unlikely that she has done anything other than emerged and started, kind of assessing her new home. When we get a successful mating back on these queens, we'll actually take these off, move them to another location, and be back down to original colonies. So I've got 2 queen cells here. It looked like they have emerged. I'm expecting to see one of them wandering around here, although she may actually be out on a mating flight. Oh, there she is right there. So here's what's clearly a virgin queen right here at the end of my finger. I hope you can see that. All right. What we've seen in a couple of hives already is originally we moved all the brood down to the bottom, empty space above. They climbed up in. The queen climbed up in here, started laying this full. So that prompted us to take what was up above, shuffle everything back up. So we have 5 frames again in the bottom. Then we took the excess resources and created splits from those. So this may actually wind up having queen up in the top again, laying. So it looks like we've got brand new foundation being drawn, which is part of the plan here. That's why we're feeding. I know this frame looks terrible. When I say that they're drawing that out, they are truly drawing that out. That's an old frame. We scraped everything off and started over. There's a good frame of pollen and nectar all the way around. Bee bread. Nice thick frame. Another heavy frame. A lot of nectar. In this case, sugar water. And there's our queen. This is our original queen. So if you're keeping tabs, you can see what this one looks like versus the one previous, and that very long abdomen. Now she has of course been painted so that we can spot her easily, but if you're comparing her to the previous that I just pointed out, you can see this one is clearly mated and the other one was not. So we've got an active queen up in the top and she is laying up here. Yep. We'll check the extent. Yep, this is full of eggs. Get this over here so that you can see this. So this was a blank foundation here as of about a week ago. Maybe just over a week ago. I don't know if you can see down in there, but right in here you'll see these little bits of grain, what look like to be grains of rice stuck in the very bottom of that frame in each one of those cells. So she's already laid this full of eggs. You never know, we might be building up fast enough to need to split again, and that's not going to hurt our feelings at all. I would rather have too many, and being able to manage to the too many than not enough. We want to make sure we get our queens separated here. All right. They've not done quite as well as others with the pollen patty. They are working it. I don't see a whole lot of larvae in here from hive beetles, so that's good. Now originally we left 5 frames of brood down here. and some empty foundation. Again, just to try and give them something to expand into. We put a little bit of pollen or honey on the outside. And really what we're looking for down here is to ensure that nothing has changed. Still got 5 frames-ish down here. And most importantly, I'm looking for any signs of swarming. Nice fuzzy bees, lots of emerging bees. Okay, it looks good. Another full sheet of brood. I think we're up to 3, plus we got upstairs still. Another sheet of brood. That's 4. This one's got a lot of pollen on it. We'll call this about a half. About 4.5 sheets of brood down here, so I'm not concerned. I don't see anything here that indicates a desire to swarm. At least not at this point. I see some drone brood being raised. You can see the drones. A precursor to swarm cells is drone brood, but that's just a natural portion of a colony, so not too worried about it. Seems to be a desire to swarm here, in that I've got a couple of these swarm cells or queen cells that are charged. Now with her down out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and check these frames real quick and make sure that I've got all of them knocked off. Gonna be a food. Now that we know where the queen is, we're at liberty to fire at will here.